And we're live.
Welcome to the City of Buffalo Common Council Caucus meeting. Today we're going to be considering items that are going to go before the full council tomorrow. That's November 24th at 2 p.m. So we're going to be considering those items that are before us. If you wish to file an item with the Common Council, you can do so by contacting the city clerk or our central staff, and they'll inform you on how to do it and when to do it. We're also joined by department heads. We're going to go right to the we're going to go over to the Controller's office. Controller's office, are you with us there? You're muted. Go ahead.
Delano Dock, Controller's office. Good afternoon, everyone. We had two items that we did file with the council this past week. First item is a peer-to-peer review that per city charter, every 3 years, the Department of Audit and Control, they have to have their internal controls reviewed by outside accounting firm. The firm that review our internal audit process from 7/1/2017 through June 30th, 2020 was Allied CPAs. And it was determined by Allied CPAs that our audit work and reports comply with standards issued by the Institute of Internal Auditors. Basically saying the peer review that was complete by Allied CPAs showed that our process to when we do internal audits throughout offices or buildings throughout the city of Buffalo, they are in compliance. One of the recommendations they did have for us, like based off the number of departments within the city, that we possibly bring on additional internal auditors. Right now, I believe we have 3 budgeted positions, but we understand the financial constraints. It is of the city, but that will be something that we will look forward to doing at some point in the near future, bringing on additional internal auditors. The controller felt that this is definitely good for our group, not only our group, but for the city of Buffalo, knowing that when we perform these internal audits that we're doing it based off regulations. So this was a document, more just a FYI to this group. Any questions from anyone?
Any questions from the council member regarding the internal audit? That is going to finance. So we'll discuss it further in finance. You had another item?
The second item we filed was the October 2020 cash flow report. We understand that item will go to Finance Committee also. So we'll be prepared to answer any questions that this group might have in regards to the cash flow of the city of Buffalo as of October 2020 and the rest of the fiscal year.
Okay. Any questions for the Controller's office? Okay, no questions. We'll send that to finance as well. Brenda Mahaffey, which item are you here on?
Just quickly, if there's any questions about the CARES Act funding, CDBG, CV, we're expecting it to go through, to go to committee. So, but just as an intro, if there was anything, I'll be reaching out as well to Malcolm to set up meetings with each of you as well. There's a bit in there, quite a bit in there, so to explain any more detail as well.
Okay. I don't know how we marked it. For some reason, Malcolm, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you look and see how we marked that item this morning? I just wanted, because he mentioned it's going to committee.
It wasn't marked based on our conversation this morning, sir. Got an explanation on how this was broken up into 2 rounds. Round 1 has already happened. Round 2 is Mr. Mahaffey is for discussion, where there's a lot packed in there.
Okay.
Of an amount of just over 3 million, I believe, Brendan, if that's accurate. So we wanted to keep this open.
Yeah, this is the budget that's before you is 11.4 million.
In the total.
And it includes rental assistance, foreclosure prevention, micro enterprise of funds as well, small business micro enterprise funds. So there's only a few categories that we have in there. But it's $11.4 million budget.
Okay.
So this is marked, well, it's not marked for the consideration and discussion of council members anticipating that you might go to committee or not.
Why don't we send it to finance so we can look it over? No objections? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Brendan. We have
absolutely
Commissioner Mike Finn. Public Works.
Good afternoon. I'm here. I see that I'm joined by Deputy Guzman and Nolan Skipper, the city engineer. We're happy to answer any questions on the agenda.
Any questions for the commissioner? Commissioner, I have, Councilmember Rashid Wyatt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's something, it's not on the agenda. I guess we can find it somewhere, but Commissioner, I found out that you guys are no longer accepting leaves and things, debris at the Shoshone location.
Yes, we announced that as part of the Bag It program that we did this year. We have a new vendor who's doing our recycling program, Geider Dunn. They have a place over on Dorothy Street in the Lovejoy district. And any resident can take their yard waste to that location. We're also picking up yard waste at the curbs continuously.
Okay.
Shoshone, as I think you're aware, there was a lot of concerns with the amount of dumping that was going on there.
Mm-hmm.
The folks who enjoy the park felt that it was a detraction from their ability to enjoy the park. We felt that that was also the case, so that's why we consolidated everything. The previous leaf drop-off locations that we had in city parks were all stopped as of this year, and all of the yard waste goes that people want to take goes to the Dorothy Street location. Again, we do pick it up at the curb, however.
Okay. Yeah, I just wish you guys would have communicated that, because I had some angry people, you know, saying that they're getting fined for taking things. And but your explanation is a great one. I mean, how can I argue with that? But even Councilmember Fiorelotto was getting people complaining, saying that, hey, they can't dump their things. So they were told they have to go take it on Abbott. Is that so?
No.
Abbott?
No, the only location where they can bring the yard waste is Dorothy Street, which is off of Babcock.
Okay.
I'm not sure where someone came up with Abbott Road.
Okay. Okay, because he's probably going to jump on and he's probably going to have the same things, because he was getting a lot of nasty complaints. And I said, I didn't know anything about it, but it makes sense. I understand, but I just wish I could have knew so I could let residents know. I mean, it makes sense. You don't want to litter the park up with debris. Totally agree. So, okay,
Yep,
that's all.
And we'll make sure to forward the Bag It information that we sent. I'll have Susan Attridge do that.
Okay, because you said you're picking it up at the curb. Is that a regular cycle, or how does that happen?
Yep. So bagged yard waste can be put out to the curb at any time.
Okay.
And we have a crew who goes and picks that up for recycling. And depending on the time of year, it also just gets put in with the regular trash.
Okay. Oh, my last comment. Can you put leaves on the street? Because I'm seeing people just dump the leaves in the street. And I thought you said that we couldn't do that. I thought we had to bag the leaves.
Yep, that's correct. All of the leaves need to be bagged in clear bags, or the paper compostable bags are acceptable as well. We'll pick those up. It's a hazard to put loose leaves into the street.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Rivera, I think you're on mute.
I apologize again. Back in September, we approved a contract with Amherst Paving, and there was a complaint from New York Foundation for Fair Contracting that they were not in compliance. I know we approved it with the condition that your department would review. Have you looked at it, the compliance? Have you reviewed to see whether or not they're in compliance?
Yes, and we did not award that contract to Amherst Paving. They're approximately 30% through their existing paving contract. So the contract that we're talking about that had the condition on it was another paving contract on top of their citywide work that was awarded in the summer. The citywide work, they're approximately 30% of the way through, and they're up to 5% of hours for apprenticeship. The requirement is 10%.
Okay.
So contract compliance is going to send them a letter to force them to come up with a plan for how they're going to remedy that with the 70% of the work that's still left.
Mhm.
which isn't unusual. That there are some contractors who work that way. But we're going to make sure that when all said and done, the existing contract is complied with.
Okay, now, it was Matt Kent who came before the Common Council from New York Foundation for Fair Contract. Are they notified on the disposition of whatever findings or whatever reviews you have?
You're talking about Matt Kent's organization?
Correct.
If they specifically ask us for something,
Okay.
well, we can be responsive.
Right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't, have a
Right.
third party being involved in
Sure,
a city
so-
contract. It's
So we can take this off at least our calendar and just ask them to contact your office regarding your findings, your recommendations.
certainly.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions for the commissioner?
I just have one last one.
Councilmember Wyatt?
Okay, sorry, Commissioner, the last question. Is there a fine if people put the leaves in the street? I mean, I'm not advocating that, but I know I've seen large amounts of leaves in the street, not a little small pile, huge
Right.
piles in the street.
I believe there is. I don't know what the fine is off the top of my head.
Okay,
But anyone who sees piles that are improperly placed, I'd recommend to report that to 311, and the street supervisors will discuss that with the resident.
thank you.
Are there any other commissioners on with us? No? All right, then we'll go to the top of the agenda. Okay, 1 is a receive and file, 2, approve, 3, to finance, 4 is an allocate, designate developer, 160.
On the committee.
Okay, committee. Number 5 is approved, 6, Maston. Report of sale of 308, 310. Councilmember Wingo, are you still there?
Yep, Mayor, it can go to committee.
Committee. Number 7, also
Yep.
in the committee as well. 8, 9, 10, 11 are approved. 12 and 13 to finance, public works. Item 14 through, can you scroll up? 14 through 25, up through 23 are approved. 24 civil service, 25 and 26 are approved. 27, 26, 27 are approved as well. Number 28, food store license, 1069 Broadway in Fillmore.
Majority Leader, can you mark that to Legislation Committee? Please.
Legislation.
Majority Leader,
Yes.
can we, the 3 cars to 25, can we move that to finance?
Which
Adding
one?
the 3 vehicles, number 25.
You want to send that to finance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, go back. Where did we leave off?
28.
28 to Ledge. 29 Ellicott food store license.
Both of the allocates 29 and 31 to committee, please.
31, 29 and 31 to committee. 30 is approved. 32, 33, 34 are approved. 35 to finance. 36 approved. 37 civil service. 38 is an approved. 39 receive and file. 40 to civil service. 41, 40, let's see, that's 42. 43, 44 are approved. 45 to legislation. 47 receiving 47, 48, 49, 50 are receive and file. 52 to CD. 53 is a receive and file. 54 in university, school zone and traffic concerns, university district.
Can we send those, is that legislation where the other items are?
Send the legislation. Petitions, items 55 through 57 to Ledge and City Planning Board. Committees, civil service is marked. Finance, we have Number 8, proposed agreement with SAS Institute. Any discussion on this? I believe most of the council members had met with SAS and the city representative to discuss this contract.
Majority
My,
Leader.
my understanding is this contract is contingent upon us receiving aid from the federal government stimulus money.
I'm okay with that stipulation because I think this is a luxury, and also would like that if we're going to get that we have a focus on finance as well. I know that the initial engagement was for police reform, but I think a number of council members have said the same thing, that we want to have that focus on finance as well.
I agree. There's 2,080 hours of consulting and training. And I think if there's one area that we should be looking at, it should be a priority, it should be our finances. If we're looking at data and statistics, that's the area to look at. So I think there's enough hours to consider that. So we hope that the city makes that a priority as well. Any other questions?
Did we get the other information I think you were requesting as far as the breakout of the hours?
Yeah, they did send us something. I don't know if every council member received it. 2,080 hours of training and consulting.
Okay.
So I received that. You might have it in your inbox.
As we understood it, Councilmember Rivera was the lead on asking that question. So I did make sure that it went to at least him. If other members would like to see that information, I do have it broken out, notated, and I can send that immediately.
Yes, please.
I would like it too, please. Thank you.
Sorry.
So motion now is to approve?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, with that approved with conditions
What conditions do you want attached to it?
that what we just stated.
The condition was that finances be one of the priorities.
Right. Well, we said that number one, I just wanted to make sure for the record that it was based on receiving funds from the stimulus. And number two, that if we do receive it, that we have a focus additionally on finances as well.
Okay.
Okay. And Mr. Majority Leader, can we change the number 7? I got some additional information on that without rec, and I'm waiting to review it first because it was stated that the executive director didn't need an evaluation by HUD. That was not true. I told them to send me the document so I can see it. So I want to look at that document.
Okay. Send it without rec. All right. Number 9 is approved. Okay, community development marked. Legislation is marked as well. Approved without recommendation. 20. There are a few without recommendations, so we'll leave them without rec. Resolutions. 58 is adopt. 59. Inquiry into license plate readers.
So this can go to a committee. It'll need some explanations. So wherever you want to send it, it's about police, but my fear is, I know we don't meet often, so maybe we could send this to finance, only because it's really about it was a financial receipt of a grant. So it can go to finance or legislation. I really don't care, as long as we can get somebody in to talk about where this grant is.
Okay, we'll send finance since it's a grant. 60 adopt, 61 approve, 62 through 64 are adopt. Any questions? Council President?
Thank you. If we could look back, there's the questions from Dominique Calhoun, I think item 46. We received and filed that. Was that marked for receive and file?
I believe it was.
Or did it go to, oh, it's going to police. So in the meantime.
It's going to go to police oversight, but it was recommended that we reach out to her and talk to her before that.
Yeah, that's what I want to make sure. I mean, there's a series of questions I think it would be helpful for maybe if council staff or somebody could work with police to answer the questions in advance so that she's not waiting for another police oversight committee, because that concerns me. And I don't think law is on. Unless we have been served or know that we are being served, I'm really not sure why we wouldn't be able to answer the questions that she has asked. So if Corporation Counsel is on, has the city been served yet anything?
Assistant Corporation Counsel Karen Gordon, not to my knowledge at this moment. However, I would say you can go ahead and respond to the questions asked to the extent that it's not providing legal information that is unclear, uncertain as to the specifics, facts-wise of the case or the situation. So I would say to the extent that she's just asking questions about process and procedures, that's fine. But if she's asking questions that may elicit legal representations or answers that could have a potential of coming back, to us in the future, because although they may not be, to my knowledge, a pending case right now, that doesn't mean that it would never be one or they can't be one around the corner. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that, when I look at them in the 6 questions that is asked, they seem to be, and maybe your office wants to take a look at them, and also before their answer. But I think that we have responsibility to answer them. We did have her before us. And what I just don't want to happen is we have her before us, and then in another 3 months, she says nobody answered those questions, because none of them, from what it appears, have anything to do with a specific incident, but kind of general questions that I think we should be swift to answer.
Okay, so I will take a look at them today and I'll bring it to my office today, and we will send an email back to Malcolm, as to whether or not there's any concerns with any one of the questions. But Malcolm, I'll get that back to you today at the end of the day.
Can you do me a favor, since it's going to police oversight, can you send it to me? Because we had discussed having a Zoom meeting with her.
Okay, sure, I can do that.
Okay.
And Malcolm, considering the nature of the questions and everything, can you just make sure it's sent to everyone?
Absolutely, sir. We'll spread that around, and
Okay.
Mr. Rivera, yes, we'll make sure that you're prepped for a conversation to happen with her soon.
Okay. You're welcome
Thank you.
to attend. Anybody that's on the committee is welcome to attend as well. Thank you very much. If there's no further questions, we'll adjourn until tomorrow.